Welcome to the Real Estate Tech Show, where two of the nation's top experts on real estate share with you their favorite tech tools, tips, and tricks to help you explode your real estate business in productivity and profits. So get strapped in, because Cory and Joe are about to lead you behind the curtain of the most relevant and effective real estate investing tools and strategies on the planet, starting right now.
This is the Real Estate Tech Show Unbox Therapy version. This guy's really cool. He's funny, and he's got a good sense of humor, and I don't even know his name, but I've been addicted to his channel lately. So this does not tip over, and check this out. Watch. I'm going to take my webcam here and move it. Okay? You can see it. Look at this. Watch. Oh, wait. There, it just tipped over.
It just tipped over. It's a defense.
Look. Oh, this doesn't work.
What the heck?
It's not supposed to tip over.
I want my money back.
Oh, my gosh. I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's the table that I'm on.
Is it weighted on the bottom? Like
no,
what?
It's got a suction cup.
Oh, well, you need to probably like make it wet or something.
Here's a camera can't reach. This is horrible. All right.
We promise we're going to get to Virtual Assistant Domination after Unbox Therapy.
There, it won't tip.
Oh, yeah. No, that works there. That's cool.
Now, watch. I'm going to pick it up.
See, the question is, though, let's say you have something in there and you want to pick it up and you don't want to spill your stuff everywhere.
It picks up really easily. Right? But I'm pushing.
Wow. That's pretty interesting. So do you have a challenge of turning over your drinks?
No, but what a great idea, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's interesting. I wonder if it was on Shark Tank.
I don't know. So sorry, guys. I wanted to surprise everybody and say cheers. I just got this like in the mail right before we got on the podcast here.
See, look, this right here is a Fiji water.
Yeah, you try to tip that over. Watch.
I cannot look. I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it.
All right. So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Real Estate Tech Show. I'm Joe McCall, and I'm with Cory. Right.
Yeah, Joe McCall.
And we are going to be talking today about Virtual Assistant Domination, Part 3.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about marketing. So this is marketing that your virtual assistants can do for you. All right. Which is pretty cool.
Give them a little preface really quick, Joe, about kind of what you're doing with real estate, what I'm doing with real estate, just for those that don't know, they're just kind of tuning in.
Yeah, go ahead. You first.
All right. So I'm out of greater OKC area, but we do some investing with partners around the country, along with Joe does that too. But primarily in the greater OKC area, we do around 100 wholesale deals a year. We focus on wholesale. We don't focus on lease options or anything like Joe focuses some on that. And also moving into multifamily apartments in the process right now, closing 100 plus apartment deal, and excited about that. But also have the company set up where I don't have to spend very much time every week handling all the processes and having a great team in place that gets a lot of the day-to-day things done. So one of the things that is exciting when Joe and I started to come up with the idea for this show, the Real Estate Tech Show, he and I are both just tech nerds. We like all kinds of mobile apps and apps on your computer and just ways to make things more efficient and more, not just efficient, but also being more productive. So you can get a tool or an app or something like that, but it can actually take you back some, and you don't want that. So we have these tools on here that we've actually used, and that actually helps us save a lot of time, and that's what we share with you. Also, one of the purposes of creating the show was to get founders of companies, which we'll be moving into in the next 3 or 4 episodes from here. We'll be actually getting founders of companies from the technology companies that we use, like CallRail, Podio, Dan Swartz on Investor Fuse, also with SendFuse, just all these also Slide Dial, just all these companies that we all use, but getting the founders on here to actually have some conversations with them. So that's one of the exciting things about that as well. So that's a little bit about my story. Joe, what about you?
Well, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and I've been doing real estate full time since 2009. And I've been mainly doing lease options. That's kind of my niche. Been doing lease options since 2008, but that's what flipping lease options or doing lease options assignments was what allowed me to quit my job in 2009. And so I do a lot of traditional wholesaling. We're doing some deals in Alabama actually right now, which is pretty cool. And we're doing some land flips in Colorado and Oregon. So
That's cool.
Couldn't do that without technology, right? I mean, it's amazing the tools that we're using. And in case you're curious, we're doing Mojo Sells. We're using Mojo Sells to call. We're skip tracing. We're buying a mailing list. We're skip tracing the mailing list. And we hired a VA, a virtual assistant. We're paying her $8 an hour, which is pretty expensive for a VA, but she's good. She works about 3 hours a day.
Wow.
And makes anywhere from, maybe 80 to 100 phone calls a day, and talks to anywhere from 10 to 20 people a day. And all she's doing is asking a few questions, pre-screening the lead a little bit, putting them in Podio, and sending them to our local wholesaler boots on the ground.
Got it.
And we've done 14 deals in the last 2 months. And since
with that virtual assistant?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And so we're not doing really anything except managing the VA and communicating with the local wholesaler. So my models, ever since 2014, we went on a 3-month RV trip. And then the year later after that, we went on 3 months to Prague and traveled around Europe with my family and our 4 kids. And how we did that was I used to have an acquisitions manager. I used to have a team, and it was just way too much work. And I was still keeping barely any of the profits because I had so much overhead. So I said, well, I looked at everything we needed to do, and I said, how can I do none of this? Like, what kind of tools and systems and tech things and automation and people can I get in place to do all of this stuff for me in spite of me?
Yes.
And we started developing these automated wholesaling tools. So then I created a course, of course, called Automated Wholesaling, and it's an 8-week case study, and we're actually just started it this week, where we teach people how to do what we're doing right now. And we're actually, in this case study, we're actually going into a new market, and I can't tell you where, but we're going into a new market, and we're going to be using the same VA and the same wholesaler, and we're just going to start doing more deals in a nearby market. And I'm pretty excited about it because for me, it started when I was in St. Louis doing deals without seeing the house, only talking to the seller on the phone. And I thought, why can't I do this from anywhere in the world, right? Why can't I do this from Prague? Because my wife and I love Prague. We love going there.
Right.
And so then I started thinking, well, what kind of tools and technology can we use? Because there's so much available for us that realtors or real estate agents and real estate investors barely even are scratching the surface with.
Yes.
You can literally run a multi-million-dollar business from anywhere in the world. All you need is a laptop.
Yeah, and a cell phone, and not even really a cell phone if you want to just go through voice over IP. It does stand to, we should tell people that we do offer coaching. Joe and I both do. And I only take on a few coaching students new each year. I usually don't have more than 15 at any given time. And I work directly with them. And the results have been exciting on working with coaching students. But, it is incredible to be able to have a business that, like Joe said, you can do anywhere in the world. I was in Cancun the last couple of months, and I was closing a deal in Florida, and we were buying a deal in Denver. I've never seen the house before. I've never talked to a lot of the buyers and sellers in those transactions. I basically work with the right people and the right team to be able to get things done. Actually, that deal in Florida I've had for a while with the team. And that was a little bit different, but the one in Denver, again, it's just setting up relationships and finding deal opportunities. This is key. Finding deal opportunities that really no other people can find. So if you can create a marketing, making the phone ring, and getting quality leads. This is very important too. Quality leads where it's really difficult to get those leads, or you're just saving time for someone. So someone's really good at doing one aspects of the business, but maybe you're really, really good at marketing. Then you can really set yourself up for a lot of success and leverage. And then with Joe also creating with the virtual assistants, which we both use, virtual assistants are great because they do things whenever you're sleeping at night. And also during the day too, whenever you just need to go get some things done, they can take care of some of those day-to-day things. And then call centers as well. Call centers like Pat Live, these other call centers, they can help tremendously as well. The bottom line is, how can you replace yourself, or how can you duplicate yourself in the efforts, and by creating systems and having virtual assistants to help you with that.
Very good. Hey, listen, Cory, I just shared it to a couple groups I belong to. I shared this on my page on Facebook, and I reshared it back to your wall.
Okay, cool.
We'll see if Facebook allows me to do that. But anyway, listen, guys, if you want a PDF report Cory and I put together on the top 10 favorite tech tools that we use every day in our business, Cory did 5 and I did my top 5, and they're different. Go to retechshow.com. Do we have realestatetechshow.com as well? I think we do, right?
Yeah.
So realestatetechshow.com or retechshow.com, or you can text the word tech, TECH, to 38470, 38470, and we will send you our top 10 favorite tech tools. And we actually, in the PDF, we give you links to videos that show how we use it and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
So we all should tell them, Joe, to share this video and thumbs and like it as well. So if you're watching right now, go ahead and click your thumbs up and like the video. Also, sharing the video is better because the more shares that we have, Facebook will give a higher rank on that. And plus, people on your wall obviously will see the video, and it can help them too. So we really do our best to provide very great value for real estate investors that are in this business and want things that can really help them, save time and make more money.
Give us a thumbs up. And listen, while we're recording this, or while we're doing this live, if you have any questions for us that you want us to answer, type them in the comment box somewhere, and we'll do our best to answer them. So cool.
Very good.
Today we're going to talk, Cory, about virtual assistants, and this is our final third session on virtual assistant domination. And we have been, that sounds weird. Is that what we called it? Virtual assistant domination.
Virtual assistant domination. You got it.
Well, it sounds, we did. We called it that. I got to get my mind out of the gutter. That's bad.
Yeah, it's just, oh my goodness. Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about marketing, though. And we use virtual assistants, and we love virtual assistants. I don't know why we call it domination. That just sounds really weird to me. But okay, we're going to be talking about marketing, because marketing is the most important part of this business. And we're not in the real estate business. We're in the marketing business. So one of the first things I outsourced, Cory, and I realized this early on when I first got started, is my marketing. I knew if I tried to do it myself, it just would not get done.
Yes.
I tried to time block it out in my calendar. I tried to, intentionally focus on it every day between certain time. And man, the direct mail always was late. My emails, my follow-up, my texting was always never consistent because I got busy. I started doing deals, and then I got busy marketing the deals, and then I forgot about marketing. I got too busy. I didn't want any more leads. So then I do a deal, make money, and I'm all excited, but turn around and my pipeline is empty, and I got no new leads coming in, and I'm freaking out. And I went through these really vicious up and down cycles of like, I need leads. And then it's not like a light switch that you can just turn on and instantly leads are flooding back in again. You need to get the marketing done all the time, every single day. And the only way that you can do that is getting someone else to do it for you in spite of you. I'm 100%, unless you're super disciplined and you can do it like yourself every day. But like when it comes to whether you're doing direct mail or SEO or pay-per-click or Facebook ads or bandit signs or texting Craigslist and things like that, you've got to get someone else to do it for you so you don't have to worry about it. That is $5 an hour activities. You need to focus on your $500 an hour activities. So there's a lot of things that virtual assistants can do for you, right? So the first thing I did when I got a virtual assistant, she wasn't even actually from the Philippines. She was from Indiana.
Can we say something really quick before you keep going in there? It isn't because these jobs are beneath you. Okay. Don't get that wrong. I have a virtual assistant I've worked with for, 8 years, 9 years. I've had an actual personal assistant, a actual person here and locally that I work with for over almost 10 years. And these people do amazing jobs. What happens is you get placed in your business where you start going, where are you most effective? And these other jobs that you could be doing, like Joe's saying, the $5 and $10 and those $20 activity type jobs, you can still be doing those. But what happens is you start it eats up all your time on you spending more relationship on building the business. See, the person you're hiring to help you, they're helping you to get through a particular task. They're helping you to do a project. Usually a lot of these things are project based. You as a business owner, it stands to say, Joe, is that you want to build the business. You want to actually continue to make expanding decisions and building the business up. So I love, and I know Joe appreciates our virtual assistants greatly, and they do an amazing job. But also wherever the country, depending on where you hire them from, their rate of scale. So what the average kind of pay and those things, it all matters. But I greatly appreciate everybody that we work with. And, so whether they get paid $5 or $30 an hour or more, it stands to say that it isn't because those jobs are beneath you. It's just because you as a business owner have to be focusing on other things.
Couldn't do it without my VAs. I mean, they're an integral part of my team. So what are some of the things that a VA can do for you? Well, we kind of came up with 3 different things, and there's probably a lot more. And in fact, if any of you watching this or listening to it can think of more things, let us know. Leave us some notes, write it in the Facebook comments here. But one of the first things that I've been doing for a long, long time is marketing to sellers on Craigslist and Zillow. Landlords, people that have their houses for rent and for sale by owners. I've been sending them emails and text messages for a long, long time, and it still works. It works just as well then as it does. Maybe it works a little better then because I've been teaching it for so long now. Tons and tons of people are doing it. But I've been doing this for a long time, and sorry, hold on. I started what I used to do is I would go look for ads, rentals on Craigslist, and I'd find the phone numbers of the owner or the landlord, and I would send them a text message saying, "Hey, I like the house at 123 Main Street. Is it still available? Can you tell me a little bit more about it?" And so I would start the conversation through the text. And then I would also send them a message like, "I saw your rental. You wouldn't have any interest in selling it, would you?" And they'll say, "Yeah, no, maybe, tell me more." Or I might ask questions like, "You wouldn't have any interest in leasing it for a year and then selling it, would you?"
Let me ask you this. As you're doing that, Joe, what is the percentage that you think out of, let's say, 50 people that you message, how many do have an interest in selling their property?
Oh, sometimes my response rates, depending on the market, range anywhere from 8 to 12%. So on average, maybe 10%.
10%. Okay.
And so that's people that will respond back, depending on the question, will respond back. "Yeah, maybe, tell me more. I don't know."
Okay.
So I would try to do that myself at the beginning. And I realized, the virtual assistant could do this. So at the time I got Google Voice, and I just had my assistant sending out text messages through Google Voice. Eventually Google Voice shut that down because they were seeing too many people sending too many texts that said the same thing to people. And so people's accounts got shut down. So now we use Vumber mainly and CallRail. Vumber with a V. And a Vumber allows you to go online with a virtual phone number and send and receive text messages. And so the VAs will send texts for me to, depending on the market we're in, anywhere from 50 to 100 landlords and for sale by owners a day. And now, keep in mind, there's a few things you need to be aware of regarding this. We're not sending mass text messages to a bunch of people. This is individuals sending one at a time.
Okay.
And it's personalized. So there's no rules against that. I mean, people are putting their phone numbers on Craigslist because they want you to call them if you're interested in their house, right? So
Yes.
We're not scrubbing it against the do not call list. We're just sending them personalized texts. And so that's been working pretty well for a long time.
Have you had any challenges from anybody saying, "Why are you calling me?" or anything like that? Because
never,
right? Okay.
Because why? Okay, why'd you put your phone number
Why'd
in?
you put your number there if you don't want to call it? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not. We're not going to white pages and scraping phone numbers from the phone book or buying lists of phone numbers. We're just calling people who have their phone number in Craigslist. There was actually, I won't get into the details of that. Now there's a problem sometimes with Craigslist because Craigslist has the reCAPTCHAs. Those stupid, annoying things that's.
Yeah. Is this you're not a robot or, hit all the little pixels.
If you do it every time, then you're going to see a picture with a bunch of squares in it, and maybe there's some street signs, and you have to click all of the boxes that have a street sign or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you start doing this, if you start going into too many ads at one time, Craigslist will start blocking you and like putting up this reCAPTCHA every time. So there are people out there that know of ways to get around that. And here's the thing. I know of a company that does it for us, and I'm not going to tell you who it is because I'm too worried that people will go out there and
blow them up. Yeah.
But you know what I've done before, and I'll just tell you all this. There's VAs in other parts of the world that know how to get around this thing as well. Mm-hmm. And so I found people on Upwork and Fiverr that advertise web scraping services. And they have ninja ways to go in to and behind the CAPTCHAs and scrape information from Craigslist and Zillow. And so you just, what I did before is I found 3 or 4 people on Upwork and Fiverr, and I paid them $25, whatever, to go scrape and give me 100 phone numbers or whatever. And they did. And I picked one of them that did it the fastest and had the best success. And then I said, hey, what can I pay you to do, 50 to 100 a day or whatever.
What is that price that you typically ended up paying?
That's a good question. I'd have to look. Right now, the company we're paying to do this for us, it's about 3 cents per scrape.
That's good. Yeah. We have a virtual assistant company I've worked with for a long time called VA Servant. And, if you check them out, they can do just about anything you want. And I think they start out at $5 or so. I've used them for a long, long time. There's a question that we have here from Nick Kazigi. It says, better to have a domestic VAs, ? I'm always concerned that with real estate, specifically having someone overseas has a huge time differential and a language barrier. How would you answer that, Joe?
It's a good question because I've used virtual assistants for a long time from the Philippines. But when my business started getting bigger and it became harder and harder for me to manage because I'm not the implementer. I'm more of the visionary, right? So I hired a local assistant. And when I hired a local assistant, I really fought that because I was worried about the high cost and all that. I was worried about W-2 payroll. But when I hired a local assistant, my income and productivity almost tripled because now I had somebody that could manage my virtual assistants for me.
Yes.
And they just understood. They could think ahead for me. Like a virtual assistant in the Philippines, typically, not all of them, but typically, like they're waiting for you to tell them what to do next.
Yes.
They're good at doing the data entry and the web scraping and updating things or creating reports.
Yes.
But if you want somebody that actually thinks ahead for you and does things without getting your specific instructions, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times a good local assistant helps. And so I put a job on Craigslist. I've hired like 3 assistants from postings on Craigslist, and they've been good. I hired an acquisitions manager from a posting on Craigslist. So it just kind of depends on the work. And if you're struggling right now with not a ton of money and you need somebody to help you just manage the volume of leads or do some simple marketing for you, then just get a virtual assistant in the Philippines. Don't worry about the language barrier. They have really good English. Most of them have really good high-speed internet, and just piece off, give them little pieces at a time. Is my biggest advice, right? So that's the first thing I had my virtual assistant start doing for me was sending out text messages and emails to ads on Craigslist and Zillow that were for rent and for sale by owner, and just asking them. I had 3 simple questions because I wanted them to do some pre-screening for me, right? I only wanted to talk to people that raised their hand and were interested. And so one of the first question is typically, I saw your house at 123 Main Street. Is it still available? The second question, if they say yes, is, are you the owner? Because typically, it's, if it's listed with a realtor, we're not going to probably do a deal with that. I'll still talk to the realtor, but I'd rather not.
All right.
I'm looking for the lower hanging fruit. If they say, yes, I am the owner, then the third question, depending on the deal, would be something like, the way I do it is if it's a nicer home that doesn't need any work, I'm not going to get that thing at 60, 70 cents on the dollar, right?
Right.
So my text to them will be, well, I love the house. You wouldn't consider leasing it for a year and then selling it, would you? Something like that. If it's a lower end rental, like 50 grand, I don't want to do a lease option on that. So I'll ask them a question like, hey, I saw that rental. You wouldn't have any interest in selling it, would you? See what they say. Sometimes if it's a for sale by owner, I'll say either one of those. Well, I'll say some of those questions. Then sometimes I'll say, hey, I'm an investor. I saw your property on Craigslist. Is your price negotiable? And then you're looking at, they know that you're an investor, and then they're more open to saying, if they're negotiable and they're willing to say yes, then you might have a potential deal there. So just asking those kinds of 3 questions in different ways like that can eliminate a lot of the people that just aren't interested at all. And then you can only talk to the people that raise their hands. So anytime somebody responds back to the text with a semi-positive, warm response, like, I don't know, maybe make an offer, it depends. Then my VA puts that lead in Podio, and then we get alerted, and we immediately then pick up the phone and call that person back and keep on following up with them. Does that make sense?
Sure. Absolutely. Yep.
So again, the tools we use for that, you've got to find somebody that can go and scrape. And that's kind of a manual process. Although this company I use, they claim to have a tool. And you know what I think one of their secrets is, Cory, believe it or not, is I don't know if I should say this, it's not a big deal, I guess. They change the IP address like every single time they go.
Yeah, to rotating IP. A lot of them do that. Another one is they'll actually have a computer. So if you have another computer in your office, and they'll just log on to that computer, and they'll do everything from there. So there's a lot of ways that they can do it. And, that's something that you probably need to investigate yourself.
The cool thing, though, if you get the right people doing this for you, is because Craigslist and Zillow, they constantly will change their website, like algorithms or stuff that goes on in the background to make it harder and harder and harder. And so you have to make sure you're working with a company that may be down for a day or two, but they're immediately catching up and finding ways to get around the blocks that Craigslist puts up. So I know some of you are, something's ringing. Anyway, sorry. Some of you are maybe upset that we're doing this, but I'd be curious to know why you don't think this is a good idea, and let us know in the comments, because it's very effective. Now, one more thing I'll say that we do is we have our VAs actually email realtors. This is really cool. I did a course with a friend of mine named Haim Malami, I believe. I'm sorry, Haim. I got your name. I just butchered it.
I've talked to Haim a couple of times.
Super cool guy. He's from Israel, lives in San Francisco, and travels around the world a lot. He's in Russia right now for the World Cup with his kids. I mean, the guy's amazing. He's super cool. We created a course together called MLS Hacks. And the idea is to get your virtual assistants every day to go in the MLS in multiple markets, and not submit offers on official contracts, but send emails to the realtors of those listings and say, hey, would your client maybe consider an offer like this? And so what he does is he has his VAs they look for properties on Redfin or Zillow or realtor.com that look like they need work in his target areas. And he sends them like a cash offer by email, and he attaches a proof of funds. And he says, we like this house at blah. Would your client consider this offer for $75,000? We'll pay cash, close in 7 days, no contingencies. Here's our proof of funds. His whole goal is to get the realtor to respond back and get this foot in the door, and maybe then he'll look at it. And if it's a potential deal, then he'll submit a real contract, right? I've taken a different approach. We'll have our VAs send more of a soft pass offer. Hey, we saw the property. How negotiable is your client? Before we waste your time with an official contract and all of that, is your client negotiable? And so we'll kind of look at it through that. So the VAs, the way it typically should work, and we're not at this volume yet, but if you got a team of 3 or 4 VAs, they could be literally sending out a couple hundred emails every single day to multiple different markets. And so you could go after maybe older listings on the MLS that have been on the there's a lot of them, by the way. You think the market is hot, and all you need to do is stick a sign in the yard and you get multiple offers above asking price. Go into any of the hot markets that you think are hot right now. Go to Redfin and look for how many homes are on the market over 90 days. You'll be blown away. You'll be floored. There's still hundreds and hundreds of them. So anyway, you could email realtors of those listings. You could maybe go look on Redfin for houses that have been listed over 30 days and have your VA go through each of them, sort it by newest, so the top ones are the new ones, and just search through the pictures and look for ones that are cluttered, they need work, only an investor would really want to buy, not a retail buyer, and have your VA email those realtors and see if their client would entertain an offer. And you can tell the realtor, by the way, you can represent me and get both sides of the commissions, right? So something to do. Heim's doing that, doing really well. Sometimes it's a numbers game. And if you're doing this in multiple markets and you're sending a couple hundred emails a day, guess what's going to happen?
You're going to get some people that are biting. You're going to get some
deals. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned this. This is something to say again, because I think so many people don't figure this part out, but real estate, especially real estate, is a numbers game. Wholesaling specifically, is a numbers game. Marketing as a general is nothing more than conversion and frequency. Conversion and frequency. And what happens is people miss one or both. Whenever they send out a bunch of leads, whenever they send out a bunch of marketing, they don't get the conversion. And so they stop. And smart marketers, successful real estate investors know that you have to go about 5 to 7 times to the same people before you're going to get over 50% of your follow-up leads, of your conversion, your main conversion. 50% of your main conversion is going to come between the 5th and 7th touch, what they call touch points on this. So Heim and understands that if he sends out enough, puts out enough, you can imagine this as a visual, put out enough fishing lines, you're going to catch some fish, compared to just having one line out there. So he's towing that line like that for marketing, and that's what's working. Some people just don't have the tolerance and the patience to do that. So they get frustrated and then they give up. But if you will see it through, if you understand that it's just a numbers game, then you will, and I'm speaking specifically to a person that maybe never done their first deal, this is why you've given up too early.
Yep.
And people say, well, I've ran out of money. No, we're talking about things. So far, we're talking about things that don't cost anything. But a virtual assistant, you can get virtual assistants for under, $3 to $5 an hour. If you cannot handle $3 to $5 an hour, you really don't need to be running a business, quite frankly. You can do a lot of free marketing initiatives. You can do Craigslist, you can do Redfin, you can do a lot of free things. But you're going to have, as a business owner, you have to understand you will have some marketing expenses. The point is, where can you put in the most effort for your marketing to give you the best bang for your buck? And a virtual assistant can absolutely duplicate you, and it can replace you.
For sure.
So
that's the whole goal. That's the whole goal. And it's a numbers game, so the more the lines you throw into the pond, to the lake, the more pieces of bait you have out there, the more likely you're going to get a bite.
And I should say, it can duplicate your efforts or it can replace your efforts. It's not going to be replacing you. You're still going to do, here's a great little exercise. Just Joe, if you've done this with your coaching students, I do this with my coaching students. Take a list. And I know it sounds super simple, but just take a piece of paper and write down all the things that you can't stand, all the things that you can't stand to do that you're doing right now in your business. And that list will typically be pretty long. And then write down the things that you like to do in your business, the things that you enjoy doing. And that list usually will be pretty short. And the funny thing is that usually as a business owner, you need to be doing about 10% of the things personally. It doesn't mean these other 90% of the things don't need to get done. They just don't have to be done by you personally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah.
That's really good. All right, so let's move on. There's one more thing that your VAs can do for you for your marketing, and that's sending mail. They can send mail for you. Now, we're not talking about them printing letters or handwriting letters and then sending them from the Philippines for you. Although, by the way, I have hired stay-at-home moms to do letters for me.
Great.
I hired a virtual assistant that would scrape addresses for me. we were actually sending mail to rentals on Zillow. For houses on Zillow listed for rent, we would send the owner a handwritten yellow letter. So I had the VA that every day that would scrape in my target zip codes, would put into a Google spreadsheet, the addresses of these homes on Zillow. Then I had a stay-at-home mom. Every day, first thing in the morning, she'd handwrite. She didn't like printing. She just wanted to handwrite. And so I paid her a certain dollar amount per letter, which worked out to be about $10 an hour.
Sure.
And she handwrites the letters and then would she would drop them off in my office. And so every day we would mail 20 to 30 letters, handwritten letters. And we were doing at the time, this has been a long time since I've done this. And I don't know why I stopped, but we were getting about a 20% response rate on these letters, which was amazing. And if you think about it,
that's incredible.
These were rentals that were vacant. They were vacant, right?
What list were you? So where would you get the list?
These were rentals on Zillow.
On Zillow.
These were rentals.
So I know they're on Zillow, but you weren't, okay. So you literally just had your VAs go and scour Zillow?
They would put them in a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then my stay-at-home mom would send them a handwritten letter. Oh, the other thing she would do, she hated this, but I made her do it anyway. She would crumple the letter up and then spread it out and fold it into an invitation envelope and handwrite on the invitation envelope with a live stamp. And I made her make the stamp crooked. And so, that kind of, when you get that, you're going to feel some thickness in that envelope. It's going to feel a little weird, right? It's going to have a real stamp, handwritten. It's not computer generated. Every single one of them got opened, right? They opened, right. And then they open the envelope and they see crumpled paper in there. Like, this was 4 years ago. Hopefully, right. I don't know if it's going to work as well now as it did then, but everybody across the board has said that direct mail comes down. But the other thing that the VAs can do for you is they can send one-off letters for you, right? And from the Philippines. And there's two different tools. Well, the main tool that we actually use is Click-to-Mail. And Click-to-Mail has this feature. If you can go online, right to Click-to-Mail, and you can send letters one at a time. And what we've done before, and this works, we just did this recently in Jacksonville on a huge campaign. We would take a screenshot of the house, either from Zillow or from Craigslist or from Google Street View Maps. We take a screenshot of the house, put it on a letter.
Yes.
On a window envelope and Click-to-Mail, and just would send those letters one at a time.
Yes.
And it costs per letter right around $1, a little less, There's other services that will do it more automated for you. Like, Cory, why don't you talk about the ones that
Sure. So SendFuse, our good friend Dan Schwartz, that created a service it's called a wrapper, basically. It's a service that went around Podio, but now they've broken out of Podio and starting their own CRM, which is smarter because you can do a lot more things specifically for real estate. Podio is not really designed to be a real estate centric only CRM. But SendFuse basically allows you to, you can, if you're going and you see a property that's vacant, you can simply go in, type in the address, and it will actually send a postcard for you right then and there. You set it up where it's automated, Joe. And not only is SendFuse one that you can do this for, because it's pretty inexpensive to use their service, but you can also go completely free if you wanted to, unless you, well, I guess Zapier is free up to a certain amount, but if you can go to Zapier and just type in driving for dollars, and a Zapier is Zapier. Somebody might type that in for others listening right now on the chat. Zapier is basically a integration that allows you to speak from one thing to another, one technology to the other, like a bridge. And so what you can do on Zapier is you could simply go in and type in an address maybe on your text if you wanted to, and it would send a Zapier, depending on how you had it connected. It could go to a Google Doc. You can also get it set up where you can speak, and you can just speak the address and it would go to a Google Doc. Now, this isn't going to send the postcard for you, Joe, but when you get back to your office or whatever, now you have a list of all the addresses that you could give to your VA or give to your fulfillment house to send out for you. So that's good. Then there's another app called Deal Machine. Joe, did we lose you or are you still there? Joe, I don't know. I think we lost Joe. He'll pop back on. But basically, there's another service that you can use. It's called Deal Machine. And Deal Machine is an app that you can take a picture, right? You can just take a picture of the house and it will automatically fill everything in, including, I think it'll find a phone number and email address. Joe, do we have you there? Joe's having some internet issues. But including that, you take a picture of the house and it will automatically, just from using this mobile app called Deal Machine, send a postcard out on your behalf. And the postcards look really strong too. You can go check out a source now. This is interesting. If you've never heard of a guy, I'm going to give Seth Williams some love on here from REI Tipster. But I'm going to go ahead and put in this link in the chat. I want you to click on this link so you can check it out. This is a very, very great review on Deal Machine. And I know the founder, he's hit me up a couple of times about it, that we're wanting to talk more about it. But basically click on that link that I just posted in the chat, and that will be a deal review of the app. It'll be a review of using that mobile app. Joe, you there?
I think so.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I think you're coming in and out. So we got driving for dollars. Joe, why don't you talk about click to mail?
Well, yeah, I did a little bit already, but click to mail is super cool. You've got to have. I will mention one other thing with click to mail. It's pretty cool. You got to have an account with click to mail. By the way, it's click the number 2 mail.
Yeah, number.
And if you have credits preloaded into click to mail, that's the cool thing about it. So you can preload credits, and your virtual assistant's not going to get your credit card information or anything like that. There is an add-on with Google Docs, right? That's like the Microsoft Word for Google Docs. There's an add-on in there from click to mail. And so if you have your VA create a letter, like sometimes we do this with offers, the VA from the Philippines in Google Docs can click on add-ons, click on click to mail, mail my doc, click to mail is what it's called, I think. They can go through these little steps and click done, and click to mail will actually take that letter that was in Google Docs and print it and mail it. The other thing that click to mail does is they have this feature. If you Google click to mail, email to mail, you'll see a page that they have where you can, if it's from a pre-approved email address to a special click to mail email address, in the subject line, you put the seller's name, semicolon, address, semicolon, city, state, zip, and then attach a Word document or a PDF to that email. Send the email. Click to mail will receive the email, print the attachment, and send it in the mail the same day to the seller, and will charge you from their prepaid credits. So click to mail is a really super incredible tool. And if you set it up right, your virtual assistants now from the Philippines can send 20, 30, 40 letters a day.
Yes.
What if they went to court records? And we didn't even talk about this. I just remembered. I've had this. They could go into our court records in Missouri.
Yes.
They can look up evictions and probates and judgments and divorces and specialty lists.
Yes.
And every day there's new court cases that go into the county to the website that shows evictions, right? They can go in and find who the plaintiff is, send them a letter. They could go find the defendant, which is usually the property they're getting evicted from, look up who the owner is on public records, and send the owner a letter through click to mail with just a few clicks, and it gets sent instantly right when this seller is most motivated. They're going through an eviction. Does that make sense?
That's perfect. And that's a good one to focus on too, because most investors I know of, they are not hitting up their probate attorneys. Folks, in your area, in your city, if you don't go through on Google and type in probate attorney and have every single phone number from a virtual assistant sent over to you, and then you can do this or you couldn't. You could put in a slide broadcast and send that out if you wanted to, or you could, as a business owner, make a phone call to the probate attorney and build the rapport, which is what I have done. I've built the rapport with probate attorneys, and probate attorneys, I think there's hundreds of probate attorneys in greater OKC area. I can't even imagine on a place like Los Angeles or Chicago, or places. probate attorneys have all kinds of great opportunities on properties that they need to get rid of quickly. Also, you can work it in with the probate attorney that because they brought you the deal, that's a marketing agreement, right? You can actually pay the probate attorney a fee for bringing in that deal to you. Okay. So do you think the probate attorney is pretty excited about working with you? Heck yeah, he is, or she is. So probate attorneys is excellent. And also for the county information, you can go in, you have a virtual assistant go into the county, like Joe said, and you can go in and you can pull all this information from public record. Typically this doesn't cost you a cent.
Very good. Cory, I gotta go.
One thing, Joe, really quick, because we mentioned on the email, you can do that too with Zapier. With Zapier, basically, if you email, if you speak, if you text, if you use there's not all the major mobile apps that you use on a daily basis, any kind of Google Doc, any kind of anything that you use that's Podio, Active Campaign, MailChimp, all these other things. They have connections. So basically, if you send an email in, they can automatically send a text. Or if you send an email in, they can automatically send a postcard out. You can set up these things inside of Zapier. So I wanted to mention that when you mentioned about the postcard, having virtual assistants do that. You can do the same thing with Zapier.
Good stuff. Hey, listen, my internet is unstable. I don't know what's going on. So I think it's good time to end this podcast. Cory,
I think we went through a lot of great information, Joe. I think that was great. Some people didn't know about some of that stuff. We got some questions here, but your internet connection is kind of going in and out, so maybe we should just cut it short.
Yeah, but we'll go through and answer the questions here on the Facebook anyway. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening in, watching us. Go to realestatetechshow.com if you want more information. If you want the top 10 favorite tools that Cory and I use for our real estate investing business today, go to realestatetechshow.com or text the word tech, TECH, to 38470, and we'll
and then he froze, and we'll automatically send that report over to you. So thank you again. We'll see if Joe pops back on here, but if he doesn't, we'll go ahead and end it. So thank you again. Appreciate you guys, and make sure you check out our next episode coming pretty soon here. We'll be working on it, and we'll let you know. So thanks, Joe.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Tech Show with Cory and Joe. Make sure you download Cory and Joe's toolkit by going to realestatetechshow.com or texting the word tech to 38470. And don't forget to leave a review of this podcast on iTunes or Google Play and share it with your friends on your favorite social media platforms. We appreciate you listening.